Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. Today we're going to be talking about gas cans, and we'd like to thank Jesus Arzate for liking and sharing the podcast. The first patent for gasoline was filed in 1913, and the first gas pumps were converted kerosene pumps, and they were mainly found at grocery stores. And one of the first gas stations opened in 1913 in Pittsburgh, so you could get gas, air, water, and some service for your car. And at the time, gas was being sold for 27 cents a gallon. So in today's dollars, that would be $6.50 a gallon.
Ouch.
And the first Saturday for this gas station that opened up, they did $94.50 worth of business. It'd be the same as $2,200 today. If you haven't purchased a gas can lately, there's been a lot of...
gas cans go bad?
Well, some of the plastic ones, they dry out, they get old, yeah. And some are just bad, and that's why there's a new requirement that it's Carb Compliant.
And what's that?
So CARB, C-A-R-B, is the California Air Resources Board, and in 2009, the EPA adopted the Carb Compliant requirements for gas cans, and this helps protect groundwater and reduce the greenhouse gas.
That's good.
So gas cans have to have an automatically closing spout, and the container can't allow gas to evaporate into the air. So some of those cheap plastics would allow it to just go right through the plastic. So you have either metal or special plastic, a child-proof locking system, and no separate vent in most of them. So some, and we'll talk about that. But by eliminating this vent hole in most of them, many of these gas cans are now a little harder to fill equipment. They're harder to control the gas flow, but it's much better for the environment.
Well, that's good.
With the carb-compliant gas cans for homeowners, there's two main styles. One is a spring-loaded spout. So with this one, you're going to have some type of child lock. Usually on the bottom of the spout, you have to turn, and then there's a tab on the spout itself. When you stick the end of the spout into the gas tank of some equipment that you're filling, there's a tab that you have to catch, and you have to push the can down to compress this spring so that it allows the flow of gas. Then when you release this, it stops the flow of gas and it closes off the spout so there's no evaporation of the gas or spilling. If you have let's say you have a small trimmer or a blower, and so you can't get the spout deep enough to catch that tab, so you can press against it, then you actually have to grab the spout with your one hand, grab the can with the other, and then compress that manually and try to pour it into. So it makes it a little more difficult with that style. If you have something small, if you have a small gas tank to fill.
Right, because like what was it before? You unscrewed the cap and
just
now
poured
you're
it
done.
in. Yeah. Another style is a thumb trigger spout. So with this, you're going to insert the nozzle into the tank, push a button, it allows the flow of gas, you release the button, and it stops the flow of gas and seals it off so there's no evaporation.
This seems easier.
Well, especially for smaller tanks, this is going to be a lot easier to control. You can also get safety cans, and these are usually used by businesses that have to store gas in buildings or companies like Landcare that need to have...
Landcare? Landscapers?
So landscapers...
Were you trying to go for lawn care? Which still doesn't make any sense. They're landscapers.
So landscapers love this because they have a durable gas can that they transport around. It can take a bump. And
shouldn't all gas cans be safety cans then?
The safety cans are great, and I don't think a lot of homeowners think about these, but this is a nice option because they're very durable. They have built-in flame arresters. They have self-closing lids, pressure relief, and these are tested under pressure to make sure they, will stand up for businesses. So I like them.
For businesses or just for everybody?
For everybody, Cindy.
What do you mean by a flame arrestor?
So the flame arresters, this is a screen that prevents the gas can from exploding.
Well, that's nice.
So if gas vapors...
I would like that in a gas can.
If gas vapors are ignited outside the can, it prevents the flame from entering the can and igniting the vapors. Let's say you have a 2 or 5 gallon gas can and it's half full and you have a gallon worth of vaporized gas. It potentially can explode with the force of 20 sticks of dynamite.
Impressive.
So Alfred Nobel, he invented dynamite plus a bunch of other explosives so that you would have a controlled way to blow stuff up. and he was using nitroglycerin, diatomaceous earth, and sodium carbonate to create this. He patented in 1867, plus about 355 other different patents.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing.
Busy guy.
So he read a newspaper account. So this newspaper thought that he had died. So they did a story about his life, and they titled it The Merchant of Death. So
that'll probably mess with you.
he became so obsessed with what his legacy would be that he decided to fund the Nobel Prize with his fortune. Interesting, huh?
Uh-huh.
So with safety cans, beside having the vapor arrestor, they also have pressure relief, and this is going to prevent rupture or explosion, and it automatically vents if it gets 3 to 5 pounds of pressure per square inch. So type 1 safety cans have a single opening where you would fill it, and that's also where you would dispense the gas. Type 2 have 2 openings, so one for filling and then one for dispensing.
Interesting.
With the safety cans, most are going to have a squeeze grip release for the gas, so it's going to give you good flow control. And when you're looking at them, red is for gas, yellow is for diesel, and blue is for kerosene.
If you haven't purchased a gas can in a while, be prepared. You're going to drop at least $10. I mean, the
Right,
cheapest
they're
ones
more
are $10
expensive,
now, but where before it used to be a couple bucks
Right.
because it was cheap plastic. But now with all the safety features, obviously they're going to be more expensive.
Right, and that push spout is going to be the least expensive. Then the thumb release is going to be a step up in price, and safety cans also are going to be more expensive.
Or it's like between $10 to $50.
Right. If you're looking to store larger amounts of gas, like 5 gallons, you can get a jerry can. And so
what is that?
it's kind of a unique style, kind of tall and thin. And this was developed in Germany in the 1930s for military use. So in the U.S., we developed a 4-gallon square-shaped gas container, and it was welded together. And the welds were notorious for leaking after they were being tossed around during transport, and they would cause fires. And then the lid needed a special tool to remove it, plus a funnel, and it had a very thin handle that was difficult to use because of the weight. And the metal was very thin, so the soldiers called them flimsies. So the German can was 5 gallons. It had 3 comfortable round handles, making it very easy to pass. So soldiers could create a line and pass it from soldier to soldier because they had 2 outside handles and a center handle. And then it had a much more narrow profile and taller. It had a plastic liner to prevent leaks and only 1 weld around stamped metal. So it was a much better design. So if you're looking for a 5-gallon container, check out the jerry cans. If you're storing or dispensing 14 to 25 gallons, more or less, you can get
doing that?
You can get a fuel caddy. So if you have a boat, a jet ski, if you have lawn tractors, let's say, a riding lawnmower, then you need a fuel caddy. And these are going to look like a large jerry can, usually combined with a 2-wheel hand truck.
Okay.
So you can move them around very easy. You're either going to have a hand pump or it's going to be gravity fed. So it makes it just convenient if you have, larger equipment, or if you don't want to constantly be going back and forth to the gas station.
Or if you want to supply your whole neighborhood with gas.
That's how you make friends, Cindy. Here's some top-rated gas cans. So in a push nozzle style, Midwest Can and Briggs & Stratton. In a thumb trigger spout, so no spill is the name of it, and this had a lot of very positive reviews on the flow and control. What's interesting is the spout is designed to stop the flow of gas when it's full, so you put the spout into the gas tank, and if you have a very small tank like a blower or edger, you press your thumb in and the flow of gas stops on its own.
Okay.
And then you release your thumb and just pull it out. Sure Can, and this is S-U-R-E. This has a flexible rotating spout on the bottom of the can, so you don't have to tilt the can. You just hold it upright with the top handle, and you're going to rotate the spout on the bottom of the can, and that allows you to fill your equipment, and this has a thumb trigger on the handle. With safety cans, Eagle and Just Right, it's Justrite. With fuel caddies, Scepter, Duramax, Flow and Go. So it's SCEPTER, and Roughneck were rated high. And with jerry cans, Crown Automotive, TMS, and Wavian Military Spec, and it's WAVIAN. Many of the pros like the metal cans for long-term storage, and if you're storing your gas in a hot shed, the problem with plastic is it can expand and contract, shortening the life of the plastic. The boating industry, though, loves plastic. They say if there's a fire on the boat, the plastic's going to melt, where potentially a metal can can create an explosion.
Bummer.
You don't want to store gas cans in a house or an attached garage, always in a shed or detached garage. And you want to have a type B fire extinguisher available in case you have a fire with gas. A is for ordinary combustibles like wood, paper, and fabric. C is for electrical fires. And K is for cooking grease and oils. When you're filling up your gas can, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health recommends never filling up a gas can on a truck bed with plastic liners or in cars with carpeted trunks or floors.
Why would you? Wouldn't you be scared you're going to spill?
You should go on Google and see how many trucks, have caused fires because they're filling it up on their truck bed. So the can isn't grounded, and that flowing gas out of the nozzle is actually creating static electricity. The dispenser nozzle can create a spark and ignite the vapors. And it's pretty dramatic.
I would say so.
The way you want to fill your gas can is to take it out of your car, your truck, put it on the ground about 5 feet away from your vehicle, because
5 feet?
Right. The exhaust manifold or your catalytic converter can ignite the gas vapor because it's heavier than air, so it drops down.
Wow.
And if it's too close, you can ignite it. You always want to touch the metal on your car to discharge any static electricity you've built up on your body first before you dispense gas.
So touch the car, walk 5 feet away.
Right. Put it on the ground. It has to be on solid ground. And when you're filling your gas can, you want to keep the gas nozzle in contact with the gas can and fill slowly because you're going to produce less static electricity.
Wow, who knew?
And you only want to fill the tank 95% full of gas so you have room for expansion, especially in plastic. If you're transporting gas cans in hot weather a long distance, you want to keep it in the trunk and slightly open with bungee cords, and that's going to reduce the heat buildup and the potential for expansion in the gas tank. And then you never want to add gas to a hot engine on your lawn equipment because it can ignite the gas vapors. So it's a nice time to take a break when you need to fill it for gas. You never want to siphon gas by mouth. It can be fatal if you swallow. Never mix gas with kerosene or diesel. And for lawnmowers and small engines, get a gas with a minimum 87 octane. Most engine manufacturers approve ethanol up to 10%. The E15, which is 15% ethanol, isn't recommended or approved for small engines.
That's interesting.
Yeah. If you have a 2-cycle engine, you're going to be mixing gas with 2-cycle oil, and check the recommendations. You can have a 32-to-1, a 40-to-1, or a 50-to-1 ratio, and you want to shake your gas can every time so that you're mixing the oil and gas properly before you put it into your equipment. Many of the engine manufacturers are now recommending that you put fuel stabilizer in your gas can every time you fill it up, and that's going to help protect your equipment from this gas going bad, varnishing.
Right.
And if you're always adding a fuel stabilizer to your gas cans, you're ready to store it for the off-season.
No, that's smart.
What's weird is gas starts to oxidize and degrade after 30 to 60 days, so the most volatile components are starting to evaporate, and that's going to affect the performance.
Which would be tough in a zombie apocalypse, right?
Yeah, like The Walking Dead. I don't think they're really addressing
right. Everybody still has gas.
Fuel stabilizers.
How long has it been?
So as fuel is oxidizing, it's forming gum and varnish, and over time it's clogging your fuel system. The ethanol in gas is made from sugarcane or corn. This is helping reduce the exhaust emissions, but the problem is it's absorbing moisture from the air, can corrode metal and damage the rubber and plastic, and if too much water gets in the gas, it can separate, and then this water is sitting at the bottom of the tank, and it's going to cause poor engine performance. So by adding a fuel stabilizer, it's going to slow oxidation, it's going to slow the evaporation of those volatile chemicals that help start the engine. It's going to help keep the fuel from separating into layers, and there's a variety of different types for different engines. So you want to match the product to your equipment. You're going to have stabilizers for small engine, lawn equipment, marine fuel stabilizers, diesel formulas, and ethanol formulas, and some of these are going to have cleaners and lubricants in it also.
Like in the past, it was just like one bottle for
was
all fuel stabilizers.
Yeah, there's
and now there's all different colors.
Yeah. Some of the top-rated fuel stabilizers, you have Stable, STA-BIL, and they have a variety of formulas, anywhere from 12 to 24-month protection. Briggs & Stratton has a fuel stabilizer, and they're a small engine manufacturer. Theirs has a 36-month protection. AMS oil, AMS oil, they were rated very high, and also Startron, Startron. If you stored a small engine without a stabilizer, you can add a product like Start Your Engines to boost the octane to get it started. STP also has an octane boost for small engines. And when you're getting ready to store your lawn equipment at the end of the season, the old routine used to be drain all the gas out of it.
Right.
But these engine manufacturers have found out that an empty tank can have a high amount of gas vapor, which can easily be ignited. The hoses, the gaskets, the seals can dry out and rot, and then condensation can cause moisture to collect, either rust or corrosion. So now what most engine manufacturers are recommending is fill the gas tank up with a gas that has a fuel stabilizer in it. You want to fill it 95% full, and this is going to keep all of the seals and everything lubricated. It's going to reduce the moisture in there, and that fuel stabilizer is going to maintain the volatility of the gas for the next season.
My grandpa used to not drain, he'd just let it run like the snowblower at the end of the year, or the lawnmower. I can remember sitting on this patio, we'd just watch the snowblower, and then it would stop. It was very exciting.
Yeah, the new method is much easier.
Do you have anything else to add?
A safety can, I think, is a nice option to look at when you're shopping for gas cans. And then if you get in the habit of adding a fuel stabilizer every time you fill your gas can, it's going to be better for your equipment and much easier to start.
Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, the Spotify mobile app, the Google Play Music app, and iHeartRadio.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our books, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can talk to Cindy on Twitter @FixItCohost.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.